Hello, my Grimling.
Oh, and with all this, I thought I was in the wrong place. I bid you well.
Hello, Grimlings. If you had asked me back in, say, April, what my all-time favorite horror movie was, I probably would have just shrugged. If I was really thinking about it, I might have tossed out The Exorcist or Trick or Treat. But chances are the question would have been met with confusion, and maybe even a slightly shamefaced admittance that I am new, terribly, terribly new to the world of horror movies. Now, I would automatically say, let us pray. This Irish horror film, which premiered at the Brussels International Film Festival in April of 2014, is hugely underappreciated, and I will not rest until everyone I know who might enjoy it, even a little bit, has watched this. At least once. Directed by Brian O'Malley and written by Fiona Watson and David Cairns, it was produced by Brendan McCarthy, John McDonnell, and Eddie Dick. The music was done by Steve Lynch, with cinematography by Piers McGrail and editing by Tony Cairns. And let me just say, Let Us Pray is possibly my favorite movie, period. This movie is amazing. This movie is fun. This movie is a blood-soaked story of vengeance, justice, and the devil inside us all. So, without further ado, let's get down to coffin nails and talk about that blood-soaked story. Pollyanna McIntosh plays PC Rachel Heggie, a rookie cop on her first night on the job. As she's walking down the dark and empty streets of the town, she witnesses a young man hit an older gentleman with his car. She arrests this young man, known as Caesar, but when she turns to help the gentleman up, he's vanished. She takes Caesar into the station where she meets her new boss, as well as another regular offender, a wife-beating teacher from the local school. Shortly after, the town doctor and the older gentleman from the accident, referred to only as Six in reference to the cell they have him in, joins the lockup. And then things go completely to shit. Six seems to have a strange effect on people, showing them their deepest, darkest sins and secrets. As the people around her lose their minds, Rachel has to find a way to survive the insanity she has suddenly been thrust into. Because there's no one coming. There's no one who can help her. And as the clock keeps ticking, you have to wonder, just who exactly is Six? Now, this story got me right off the bat. You learn within about 10 minutes of the movie starting that Rachel is basically the only cop in the precinct who actually gives a damn about the rules and her job. Her boss fluctuates between seeming to like her and just being a complete ass. And the other two PCs are too busy fucking in the squad car to care. Added into this are the three guys, not including Six, in lockdown. There's the English teacher who beats his wife and regularly ends up in the cell. There's Caesar, who's just a kid, and a particularly stupid one at that. And the town doctor, who is quite literally off his rocker. Now, let me be fair, a little bit fair to Caesar. The kid is an idiot. But I don't think he's actually stupid. He does seem to actually have some measure of intelligence. He just doesn't seem to have any sort of hope. He's definitely that kid who's smart to the point of him being stupid, if that makes sense. Anyway, there's also a backstory on Rachel about how she was kidnapped and abused as a child until she was able to escape. Pollyanna McIntosh actually requested that several scenes were rewritten in light of this backstory in order to show that her character was not a victim, that she was overcoming or trying to overcome her experience, and that yes, it does still trip her up, it does still hurt her, it does still bother her, probably always will, but she's not going to let it rule or ruin her life. The crew also took great pains not to allow those flashback scenes to be exploitive, but they are there, and if you are triggered by that sort of thing or uncomfortable by that sort of thing, yeah, you're gonna have to, you might want to skip them. Honestly, I think it's one of the few times I've seen that sort of backstory handled in a fairly respectful manner, and also as something more than just a plot point or a talking point. It's not just a throwaway, oh, this happened when she was a kid and now she wants to be a cop to protect others. No, they actually show that this is a hugely traumatic experience that she still struggles with, and that the people around her completely misunderstand, to the point of some of them being complete assholes. On another note, Liam Cunningham is truly incredible as Six, and I love the way he interacts with the characters around him. Even if we didn't know that these characters see things when Six speaks to them, you'd still be able to understand why they react so strongly, because there is an enormous amount of weight and gravitas to every line he says that does make it feel rather like he can see into your very soul. There's also this great reoccurring thing with matches that he has, like fire creator, like that he has, which is hugely fun too. This is completely my kind of movie. The first 10 to 15 minutes are a bit slow, but once it speeds up, it does not stop. I mean, it's just boom, boom, boom. Like that first 10 minutes is like the inching up the hill on a roller coaster, and it's all down from there. It's also probably the only movie where I've seen the figure in the mirror scare and didn't want to roll my eyes at it. It's established very quickly that there is something wrong with Six. That he's not normal, maybe even not human. So when those scenes happen, it's actually kind of fun. Especially when you consider who the character that they're happening to is, and what his sin is. For this movie, I will be doing a spoiler video. I have to. I love this movie more than I love cherry cokes, and God knows that's one of my favorite things to drink, so I absolutely have to do a spoiler review. But it's not going to be up until next week, so there's plenty of time, if you haven't watched this movie yet, for you to check it out. Last I looked, it was still on Netflix, and if not, it's on Amazon and iTunes to rent. Although personally I think you'd be just as well served skipping renting and just going ahead and buying. As always, like and subscribe if you haven't already. Feel free to leave comments and suggestions in the comments below. I post at least one video every Wednesday. take care of yourselves, and creep it real, Gremlings.
If they ever ask about me, tell them I was more than just a great set of boobs. I was also an incredible pair of legs.